big deep breath. Boys and girls, it's been a minute, and we are here on a Thursday evening, and I got something special for you guys. This is Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid, and I'm going to hack this up, but we're going to give it a shot. And my very special guest, Bruno El Oso Blanco.
Boom. Got it.
Yeah! Woo! I've been just saying that, my friend. Welcome to the show. It's an honor to have you on. It's been so long because I've seen you on the scene, and I know you've seen my stupid face running around being a jackass, and we've never met before, so this is really cool for me. And I'm going to start this off on an odd thing. Dirtbag Dan really pinned this thing for both of us. So love me some Dirtbag Dan.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He's a good dude, man. Known him for 5 years since I started wrestling. So he's a good dude, man. He's one of the few good dudes in this industry.
You know, and I know this is about boys and girls. El Oso Blanco translates to the white bear. Bruno, the white bear. I did that much homework. See, I told you, there's one time in this universe I've done homework. It was for you, my friend, the white bear.
You're on point, brother.
I do want to start off with the Dirtbag Dan connection here because my guy is one of a kind. I mean, obviously he has his character, and no splitting hairs. Dirtbag Dan is just Dirtbag Dan, but the heart on that guy is simply amazing, and I love him to pieces ever since the day I met him at PAPW, and I am so glad that I have a dirtbag in my life. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad I have a dirtbag in my life too, man. Absolutely. He's good people, man. Since I've known him, he's been nothing but help. He's always trying to get dudes booked. You know, he's always trying to be like, you know, he's all over the place. So he's like if you guys want to come, get in my car.
And that's the biggest. Oh no, please go ahead.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. It's your show. I don't mean to step on you.
No. I was gonna say that's one of the biggest points about Dirtbag Dan. Yeah, he gives me all sorts of respect. He always gives me his time. He always tells me to shut my mouth, which is what I love. But we have a lot of fun at the shows. But what you're pointing out right now is I just kind of wanted to piggyback real quick. This is what I see as a fan from a distance, right from the Ripper. You see him around the boys and girls at the shows. He's there to help. He's there to guide if he can in any manner at all. If he's there early enough, because he does these long drives, especially from where I'm from in Connecticut, and yourself, because you're from the Jersey area, correct?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
But just seeing him, just being helpful in general. What they say you're supposed to be in the locker room, Dirtbag Dan is right there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
They say you're supposed to this and you're supposed to that, and the respect and the helping out of setting up or the breaking downs or whatever any of those aspects that a wrestler is supposed to be. He's that in somewhere, in my opinion. And I've only known Dirtbag for probably 3-4 years now. But what a heart of gold. And I know this is about the white bear, but I cannot stress the kindness of Dirtbag Dan.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Since I've known him, he's always tried to get me on the road with him. He's always, we were going to tag team a while back. We thought about tag teaming because when I first started, the first day of training, I showed up and wearing my Giants shorts, the blue Giants shorts and a black cutoff sleeve shirt. And he was wearing the exact same thing. He was wearing the same exact shorts as me, black, all black cutoff sleeve shirt. And we're standing in the ring together. We're looking at each other like, that Spider-Man meme where it's Spider-Man looking at Spider-Man, and they're like, hey, that's basically how we were. It's like we're like twins. He's Danny DeVito, I'm Schwarzenegger. I got all the looks, the smarts, and everything. He's just got all the shit. So we were talking about that on the way to Massachusetts the other day, and it's just funny. He's always been good, and it took 5 years for us to actually get together like this. And I had a blast with him. He knows what he's talking about. People probably don't give him the credit that he deserves, but he knows what he's talking about. He's a book of knowledge when it comes to wrestling. He's willing to do anything in the ring, whether it be hardcore, whether it be like for the kids. You know what I mean? But
Yep.
Dan's always been on point with everything. So I'm very happy to have met him and have him in my life as far as a road buddy now, and we're gonna try and tag team a little bit on the road and stuff and see how that works out. There's gonna be some Jersey douchebags, and I don't know. It should be fun, man. Dan's a very good person.
I did notice you did tag team for a minute there over in Nova Promotions. They were at their home base in Gloucester, Massachusetts. For me, and I know we talked to Smidge. We talked to real quick Smidge this past Saturday night. We had a little fun there with Dirtbag. What a surprise that was, might I say.
Yep.
But you guys did a tag team for a minute at Nova Promotions. They went to their home base in Gloucester, Mass. And what I was going to say was it's a little haul for me, about 3 hours or so. And you guys are like, hey, pussy, we did 5, okay?
So it was 5 for us. It felt like 2, honestly, man. When you're in a car with somebody you can talk to, it's just the time goes by, man. We were like, we're here already, Jesus Christ. And then coming back home, we were like, damn, we're back home already. And so, we're going to try and tag team. There was a few kids out there acting tough, so we had to put them in their place. So in December, we're going to be going back, and we're going to be tagging against these 2 young kids to teach them a little something about being humble, as the great Iron Sheik says, So, it should be fun, man. I think me and Dan play really well off each other. So
a couple things I would first as a question. Is there a name of said tag team yet?
I'm messing around with some names. We're like the bearded bastards, something like that. We were just kind of throwing around names and stuff. So we'll see. Yep. We'll see what clicks. Okay. Some will click. Somebody will say something, and it'll be like, "That's it. That's what we're gonna be."
And it's funny because I ask about names and the origins and the backstories and such, and those are those spontaneous. You guys look like, or you guys should be by somebody else, and you're like, oh my God, there's the magic. Sometimes it just happens like that. And getting back,
I was using a hashtag for a while, the Risen Reaper. So I told Dan also, I was like, maybe we could just be, the Reaper, Risen Reapers, because Reaper Risen is what I was going by, hashtags. And then I was like, why don't we do the Risen Reapers, like a motorcycle club, and NJ Risen Reapers. And we'll see. We'll just see, man. It'll just we could just be assholes, period, and just fuck shit up and not care, and that's what we're probably gonna do. But it's gonna be fun, man. Dan's a character and I'm a character, so both of us together, it should be a good time.
I'd love to hear you announced as the Jersey assholes. That would be fun.
Right, straight to the
point. And back to the tag team that you guys were at. I noticed there was a little bit of footage on your page specifically, and then Dan shared such footage. And I want to point out 2 things that I saw in there. I mean, there's many things that I saw in there in a very short time, but there's 2 things that I want to pull out. First, Roberta is the woman. I mean, she is so amazing. Yeah. Roberta is just something else. And I've seen that she played a big part in what you guys were doing over there at the Zarba Cup. And also, when Dirtbag Dan, I showed this footage to my dad today after work, and when Dirtbag Dan screams his head off, "Now kill him!" My dad laughed his ass off because we expect that out of Dan. But then, sir, you took your opponent, you kind of pump handled him, you flip them over your shoulders, and I go, oh, wow, there's going to be like a test kind of thing, like the pump handle slam, if you will.
Yeah.
But instead, boys and girls, if you don't follow this guy, look up his page. I'm telling you, Bruno El Oso Blanco. Bruno the White Bear translates to. I'm good at that now. Go to his page. Check this out because he doesn't do a pump handle slam like Tess does. He surprised me as a fan. He flipped me and my dad's shit right out of our... Dude, I'm telling you. He picks his opponent up and he drove this dude right into the mat. And we lost are absolute shit watching this.
Yeah.
Amazing driver, amazing chemistry already. Whatever you guys got going on, I'm already sold. I'm in 100%. And to your opponent, if he is still alive, I hope your hospital bills don't cost you a fortune. That was devastating.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. There's a pretty cool story to that. I was doing Test's move, the pump handle power slam. I've been doing that since I started. That's my finisher. I called it the Fester bomb. Fester after a friend of mine who was a suicide. I lost him on WrestleMania about 4 years ago, and his nickname was Fester. They called him Reek, and I named it after him. So I was using that as motivation for me and stuff like that. So the adaptation to it, which is the pump handle driver, we all know Big Jim Anderson. I got the opportunity to know Jim when I wrestled for PAPW a long time ago. I guess I didn't catch you at that time, but me, Jim, and John Tella were a group. We were calling ourselves the Revelation. There's some footage of us. We only got booked at PAPW once, but we were pretty damn scary as a group. Me and Jim talked all the time. He used to call me, he used to text me, and we used to always talk. He used to ask me about my kids. I used to ask him about his kid. And he hit me up one day and he sent me a video. He goes, "Hey, what do you think about this?" Because he wanted to have something that kind of like was a signature move of the group. So he took my pump handle and he did that sit out driver. It was just practice. He just showed it to me as a thing. But I don't think he ever used it. When we got the news about Jim passing, I decided to change my finish and use that in honor of him. So I did it on Dan. Dan was the first one that I did it on. I asked him, "Hey, do you trust me? I want to do this move." And he was like, "Absolutely." So I did it to Dan, and it felt so good. It felt so like it was meant to be used. And I'm a big Undertaker mark. So to make the tombstone mine and give it my own flair, I don't see anybody doing that, and I haven't seen anybody do it. So that's mine. That's mine, and I'm gonna take that as mine. And I hope I do justice. I hope people see that it's because of Jim that I'm doing it, and it'll always be for Jim. And I'm just gonna keep that memory alive for him by breaking people's necks.
3 things off of that. Love you for that dedication, reverting a move that you've usually used. You've evolved it, and that goes along with your character. We're going to get into that because we love the evolution of character on this show and such. But you've evolved your finisher to pay homage to our main man right here, Big Jim Anderson, one half of the Brass City Devils, along with Ryan Frost. And I love you for that. That's number 1. Number 2, you made, and I've already said it, but you made me and Pop as fans already shit ourselves when you pulled that off because we thought it was going to be the test thing,
Yeah,
and whenever you drove that poor bastard into the mat, my dad goes, "He just fucking killed him," like Dan said. So you made 2 fans pop right off the ripper. Thank you for that.
I appreciate that.
And thirdly, did you say Dan was the Dirtbag Dan? Our Dirtbag Dan was the first one to take that?
Yeah, Dan was the first one to take that at Frontier Wrestling. I have footage of that on the YouTube, on all my social media actually. Dan was the first one. We wrestled at Frontier, and I told him we were going to do something quick. I let him beat me up a little bit, and then I told him, what the finish will be, which is usually I do a big splash in the corner, I pull you out belly to the ground in the middle, I pick you up, and I hit you with that. So then, he was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And Dan made it look even worse because Dan kind of like Scorpion. He didn't keep his legs, tight because he's so damn skinny. He's got like no muscle on his body. So when I landed, he kind of like Scorpioned himself. I held him fine. He was fine, you know what I mean? But he made it look even worse. Like if you go back and watch that, Dan looks like I killed him. He like collapsed over my legs. He's just laying there. So like It's a pretty wicked looking move, man.
It is very impressive from our point of view. Love it, love it, love it, and appreciate you bringing it to the table. And maybe that's what Dirtbag Dan gets for telling me to shut my mouth for the past 3 or 4 years. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
that's a little.
I
That's a
secretly
little.
did it for you. I did it for you secretly.
It was a little come ups for the Kincaid. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So I did commentary while Dan was wrestling at Nova.
Okay.
And you know, it was funny because we're, you know, it's like my little brother. So you know, unfortunately, he came up with the L. You know, he didn't
Oh,
win.
okay.
So I'm on commentary, and the guys ask me like, "Oh, look, you know, your brother, you know, he lost." I'm like, "Yeah, it's expected. You know, he's the weaker link of the two." So you know, I was just crapping on him the whole time, and he's trying, and I'm like, "You're a disappointment." I'm yelling at him, "You're a disappointment." He just turned and he starts crying. He's crying at me, and then the other announcer's like, "Is he crying?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's expected too." You know, and then he grabbed Roberto, and Roberto had to console him, and you know.
Oh man, that sounds absolute money. And boys and girls, these are the things that we get to talk. And I haven't done interviews regularly in so long, and I missed this setting just like this. Talking about something, it just kind of spins off into other things, and we got that awesome, priceless little nugget story from our man talking trash about his partner, Dirtbag Dan. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but that's a perfect setting though, because you are the Arnold and he is the DeVito, and it's like he's not with me right now, you know. So of course he's gonna
Yeah.
lose.
Of course, it's expected. I'm like, you know, he's the weaker link, so you know. It's,
uh,
he's like, are you upset that he lost? I'm like, no, I was kind of expecting it.
I seen that come. I seen that coming from Jersey, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
um, and since you mentioned it, you did commentary. Have you done this at all in the past? You've only been in the game for about 5 years. If you have, and if this wasn't your first time, is it fun to just get on that microphone and
Oh yeah,
just to let loose a little bit, you know?
yeah, yeah. I, I, uh, I mean, we've all watched wrestling our whole lives, so like, we've listened to Bobby the Brain, we've listened to Gorilla Monsoon, we've listened to Vince, we've listened to Jim Ross, we've listened to Lawler. So like, we have all that backed up in our files. So like, to do it. Yeah, I would love to commentate. I would love to announce. You know what I mean? To be able to
Oh, wow.
announce, I think is cool too. I love, you know, buffers, the both of them. You know, and getting $4 million just to say 3 words. But like Shane is another great fucking dude. Like Shane's announcing is another level. You know, he takes pride in it, like we take pride in the ring. So like when he announces you, you feel good. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I'm sure any UFC fighter, when they're getting announced by Buffer, you know, they're getting souped inside because that guy is just so full of energy and there.
Absolutely.
And then you got Shane when he's announcing you, especially if it's like, you know, if it's somebody that like he likes. You know what I mean? Like he puts that extra, you know, oomph into the name and stuff like that. You know, you can feel that. So yeah,
The
man.
white glove treatment gets stepped up just a little smidge
Just a little
more.
bit more. It's two hands at that point.
And for the boys and girls that don't know who we're speaking of, our we love our Shane Fair. Love Shane Fair. Again, if you don't know him or who we're speaking of, go look this guy up. You'll love him from the onset. He's a great
Yep.
human being. He's one of the good guys, and he's very professional. He's beyond professional. One Shane Fair.
Beyond.
This guy goes
Yeah.
way above and beyond
Yep.
his job. And such a great guy. Love me some Shane Fair. Actually, before we get too further, tomorrow is the tribute for Big Jim over in Holyoke, Mass.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know how I got pulled into this. Because I'm not pulled in, but I got embraced. I'm going to use the word embraced more than pulled, because out of nowhere, Alex Rojas, the GM of TOS, says, we got this special thing going on. There's going to be multiple promotions coming together. There's going to be a bunch of different promotional belts on the line. It's going to be a hell of a time. It's all for Big Jim. And we want you to share ring announcing duties with Matt DeCourt. Mr. White Bear, I lost my ever loving shit as a fan, as just a fan of the local scene, as a friend of the people I've made friends with over the course of the past few years, the boys and girls. And I felt the love when he asked me, and I could not say yes like any quicker, you know?
Right.
Never been in a ring to ring announce ever, so I'm nervous as fuck. And I go, but I don't have any pretty clothes, and I know you're supposed to look professional and carry yourself in a manner and have a pizzazz about you. He looks at me and says this, listen, Kincaid, we want fucking Kincaid. We don't want some fucking made up bullshit. We want you in a t-shirt, jeans, your sneakers. Just be Kincaid, come out and have fun because Big Jim loves you, and that's the way he loved you, and that's what we want you to do in the ring. So I'm still nervous as fuck. I don't know how I'm gonna present my voice. I just don't know how it's all gonna fly off, but I am so looking forward to this, and I am just so honored and privileged to even be part of said show.
Just be yourself, bro. You don't have to be something you're not. It comes off fake that way. Just be yourself. Like they said, Jim liked you the way you were, so go out there and be you. Just you announcing guys you watch wrestling. So it should be fun, should be easy. You know about some of these wrestlers, so you should know what to say about them. You know, whatever little monikers they have, nicknames and anything like that. You're good. You got guys like Shane and all these other dudes that you've watched too. So you have a lot of tape you can watch. You have a lot of dudes you can watch and see. But just be yourself. Just be yourself. Like how you are with me right now, man. That'll come off more genuine than anything.
I appreciate that, man. Now, I have a small idea. I'm gonna pass it to the guys, to the boys and girls in the back. At the shows, if you've seen some of my footage, I act like a jackass, but I lift the good guys and we boo the bad guys. And we have a lot of fun at the shows, and that's what wrestling is supposed to be. But I was almost maybe taking some of the stuff that has come along the way with the boys and girls, and maybe like Buff Inc. We have two Buff and Buff Dad. It's a father-son team. The father's a big giant pain in my ass. The son is a bigger giant pain in my ass. I was almost maybe like going to introduce him as the president of the AARP club or something, just to put a little spin on something. I don't know. I don't know if the boys and girls would be into something like that, but I figure I can put a little bit of spin on it since I wouldn't be doing, now coming down the ring. You know what I'm saying? Putting on a voice. Maybe just put a little Ted Kincaid spin on it that way and have a little bit of fun with it,
Yeah, I think that's the point. Yeah, it's for Jim, so.
We have talked many a topic already in the short 23 minutes we've been speaking, but we have not focused on our guest right now, Oso Blanco. See, I'm getting better, baby.
Yeah, you're good. You know Spanish already.
Oh, I know, like puto, maricón.
Okay.
Pendejo.
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 There you go.
I know a few of those.
You know all the curse words. Good.
But yeah, you taking the time to come on, and I want to point this out right now, after a very special time in your career, boys and girls, our special guest, and sir, I always say our and we. It's never me or mine, because this show, it may be stirring the pot with Donkey K, but this show is not mine by a long shot. This is the fan show where we get to learn about the talent, where we get to speak openly like we do.
Right.
So it's never my show ever, and it's never I. It's always we, because it's the fan stuff. But boys and girls, at a very special time in his career, we have caught him perfectly, because this past Monday on AEW Dark Elevation, my man has come out to the camera, the lights, and it was amazing. And I know that some of the local talent that have been able to get to shine for the very first time on the AEW Dark platform, they don't get a whole lot of time, but son of a bitch, it was amazing for a many a point, and we're going to break that down a little bit. But please, I want to start with that. Could you give us your thoughts, because you went through the whole process, and I know you were super, super stoked for this to happen in your career, and especially against your opponent, Lance Archer. I was so stoked, baby. And to see the height difference between you and Lance, my dad lost his absolute shit because he knows Lance from the New Japan, his days out there. So speak to us about how it went, the getting the call. Maybe you could take us through the whole process, if you will, or just tell us whatever you really stood out the most. But that had to be something for you.
It was. I've been doing as much as I can to get noticed, to get booked or whatever. It's very difficult. Especially I'm kind of like a diamond in the rough, I guess you could say, because I'm not part of any schools or groups or cliques or, I don't really know anybody. It's just myself. I'm a father of three, and I don't like hang out a lot after, and like I don't go out with everyone and stuff like that. So like I do what I have to do, and I go right home. So it's hard. It's hard. I've sent my stuff to AEW before. I've sent my stuff to WWE. I actually got an email from WWE for talent extra work, and like a week before I was leaving, they canceled because of COVID. So I never really had a chance to be on WWE.
Okay.
I started working, doing security work for Pandora's Box, the collectible toy store in Jersey. It's in Lafayette, New Jersey. It's like, I could put my money on it. It's the greatest toy store I've ever been to. It's got everything from whatever childhood you lived or anything, they got it. And they started doing signings. So I remember seeing they did Kevin Nash. So I reached out to the store owners and I spoke to Eric. Eric is one of it's two guys. And Eric, I told him, listen, I'll do it for free. If you need security, watch the door or do anything, I'll literally do it for free. I just want to meet this guy. He's basically the reason why my character looks the way it does, with a little bit of Undertaker and stuff like that. But he let me do it, and from there I kind of like started doing all the signings. And the one signing was Billy Gunn, and I was pretty excited about it because I knew that he worked for AEW and he was a trainer and like all this stuff. So like I'm like, I gotta meet this guy. I just gotta get in front of him. So I did the gig, and I spent a lot of time with him, talking to him throughout the day. They asked me to drive back to his hotel at the end of the day. I did. So I had a lot of alone time with him. I got to show him some things. We spoke about my career, what I've been through, and all that stuff.
Nice.
And it's because of him I got on. I was at Newark when AEW was in Newark. That was the first time I went. I got invited. They told me to come in, so I went. But there wasn't really much for me. I'm a pretty big guy. It's hard to it's hard to match me with their talent. You know what I mean? Without it like looking bad. You can't put me with Sammy Guevara because he'll look this big next to me. And then I know my purpose is to make them look good, which I can do. I don't have a problem with that, but it's still, it's a little too much. So I got invited back. Billy was, Kip. I keep calling him Billy. I got to stop doing it. He said, "Don't worry, I'll talk to the guy in charge," and shit, he did. And I got the second email to come back to Rochester. So I went to Rochester, and it's a crazy feeling, dude. We do all these shows all over the place, and being able to walk into an arena, you know what I mean? Like it's a crazy, crazy feeling. It's a crazy feeling. Especially for me, like part of me felt like I wasn't even going to get there. I'm a little older than most of the people. Like I said, I haven't gone to like any specific schools or anything like that. I trained at ECPW for a while. Gino's the reason why I'm in professional wrestling. he's the only one that gave me an opportunity. You know, I wasn't financially stable to afford school. It's a lot of money. I have a lot of things I need to take care of. So Gino is the reason why, but I didn't stay there very long. And I kind of ventured out. I got a really good opportunity to work with Pro Wrestling Magic, which has been my home for a while. And I kind of flourished there. You know, Dark Arts champion for 543 days. I never lost. I got stripped of that title because of some bullshit. And then I won the heavyweight title. And then, like a week later, I tore my AC joint wrestling for VXS. So that put a pause on everything. I had like this really great momentum, and you know, I was even defending my title, the Dark Arts title, during COVID. You know, I was pretty much the only one that was legitimately doing anything during COVID. You know, I put everything I could just to keep defending that title and keeping our company rolling and being relevant still, and not just get buried in this COVID craziness. Um, so when I got the opportunity for Rochester, I went, and I knew I expected because I learned from Newark, you know, so I kind of learned the process of what you got to do for a day of, you know, being there. So
Right.
the second time I went for Rochester was smooth. You know, I knew what I had to do. I got the COVID checks before, even though that I'm vaccinated, they still need to check your card. You know, they give you your credentials. You know, I strolled to the stadium. I walked because I found the hotel that was like really like 2 blocks from there. So like I walked, I
Awesome.
took it all in. You know, I got there. I was backstage waiting. I see, you know, I was waiting by the board where they put everything on, and man, sure as shit, my fucking name was on the board, and then I see it's against Lance Archer and Jake the Snake, and I'm like, you know what? Like, okay, you know, I was expecting Bononi or maybe Luchasaurus, um, but I think Archer's like their main big guy. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
Luchasaurus
mhm.
is in a tag team, so like when you're in a
Right.
tag team, I feel like you're in a different division. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm
Yep.
sure as shit Luchasaurus would be a hell of a singles guy, but he's not. So I think Archer's their big man. You know, they're Kevin Nash, they're Undertaker, they're Kane, they're whatever. He's all of it.
Mhm.
So to be able to work that main guy felt pretty damn fuck. I didn't care if it was a minute. You know, and I'll tell you
Right.
this, man. The dude's a fucking class act. He saw that they only gave us 3 minutes, and he was pretty upset about it. You know, he was like, I kind of want to try and get more time for us. You know, you're a big dude. You know what I mean? It's 3 minutes just to fucking kill you. So it was Archer's idea to, you know, have me go out there and confront Jake. So I was really honored that he gave me that moment. You know, this is a guy that I grew up watching. And in
Yeah.
my head, I'm like, this is great. You know, I'm a big animal guy. So, like, I want to get payback for all the snakes. You know, all those poor fucking snakes that were like defanged and put in luggages and stuff like that. So I know it wasn't a lot of him. I know that's like the company doing that, but
Right. And if we could just pause real quick, then we'll continue from there. Let just
yeah.
keep that thought going. When I watched it, I saw it once, and I was so stoked for everything that happened, and I had to take it in again. I watched it 3 times over, back to back to back again. So I watched it 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
The opening, uh, the opening was absolute fire, and you saying that it was Lance's idea makes it even all the better. When I saw that
Yeah.
opening as a fan, I lost my shit. I felt so stoked for you because it was like, and they're like, why is he going? The commentators are like, what does he think he's doing going after
Yeah.
Jake the Snake Roberts? He's a legend,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, oh, he just wants to make a name off for himself.
Right.
And then,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
pow!
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when Jake punched you in your face, I couldn't have been any happier for you. I'm
Oh
sorry.
yeah. I was man. So we're there, and you know, it was great because just I don't know how much I could like say without like I mean as the
No, no,
business
no.
is pretty much out there already, so I don't think I'm doing anything wrong by talking about my experience. But it was just such a great experience. You know, the fact that Lance wanted to make me look strong, he wanted to
Right.
keep me big. He didn't want to destroy me. You know what I mean? So he was like, you know, we'll have that stare down in the middle. Everything you saw was basically him. You know, I just followed along. I was like, sir, whatever you want. You know what I mean? I don't care. I was like, you want to throw me in the guardrail? You want to hit me with chairs? I don't care. Like, whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? And honestly, man, I felt like if we would have actually had a match, I think it would have been amazing because everything we did, he's a real fucking professional. Even Jake, I was so like I'm grabbing him, right, and I'm like threatening him. I'm like, I'm gonna mess you up, old man. I'm gonna mess you up, old man. And then Lance hits me from behind. I turn around, and then Jake turns around, and he comes. All I see is like Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame. This is what I saw. This I saw this. Like it was like wham. So I'm just like, come on, give it to me. Knock my other tooth out. Let's do it. Let's do it. It's Jake the Snake Roberts. So
That's
it was just
awesome.
it was just amazing. I hope a lot comes out of it, man. I already
Yeah,
told him whenever you
that's
need
awesome.
me, I'm available. So
Yeah.
I just got to keep
Uh,
on, man. Everybody thinks I'm signed. I'm not signed. I wish I was, but I'm not. I hope to be back, and we'll see.
no, but these things, when and a lot of the talent, we are so excited to see our favorite local talents get put on these AEW dark shows because there's so many matches. There's so many talent that can be on these, and now they've
Yeah,
made two, being Elevation and Dark on the Monday, Tuesday. So there's so much room for so
yeah,
much talent to have that, just that couple minutes. And like you said, even if it's a two, a three, a four, it doesn't matter. Just getting
yeah,
that something and that buzz, though. That's the thing. Getting the buzz working to that day and being like, hey, make sure you watch that shit tomorrow. Make sure you
yeah,
watch that shit tonight.
yeah,
The buzz that was going around it, I knew it was going to be really cool for you. And I hope that it does, that little bit of spotlight. I hope it does take that stock, if you will, and just jump it up a
yeah.
little bit because I feel you're in a great position in your career because after post injury, we're going to talk about that. Post injury, I showed a picture to my dad of you. You're looking at the camera, and dude, you look like this beyond a monster. And my dad goes, Jesus Christ, look at this guy. You're looking like you're probably in some of the best condition of your life. Could I say
Yeah.
that right now?
Yeah, hands down. The day of my injury, a lot of people tell me like, oh, it was bad luck or whatever. I kind of like, I'm not even looking at that, man. If it wasn't for my wife and Crowbar, I don't know, man. I couldn't sleep. I was a mess. My wife every night tucked me in like a burrito so I wouldn't move. Um, like she definitely was the reason why I got back to whatever. I don't give her enough credit. I don't um I don't put it out there as much as I should, but it's good to have somebody by your side. Because if she wasn't there for me, I don't know, man. I would have probably been in a really bad depression.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't take any pain pills. I took Advil and I kind of just focused. I said to
Wow.
myself, it's gonna fly by. The minute I was able to take my sling off, I was already like doing this and trying to like get a little exercise in it. And then like when I started going to Crowbar, I went to the gym without really having the okay to go to the gym, and I started like 2 pounds, like 3 pounds the next week, 4 pounds the following week, and I got like, oh my god! And then by the time Crowbar must have known because I saw, like you said, you saw post surgery. I was already looking kind of big, but he must have known that I was working out because I was progressively seeing myself get better, and I started getting addicted to the gym. And I'm like, damn, man, like I never took it seriously before the injury. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, I'm a big guy. Whatever, I'm big. But I look at myself and I'm like, I was a slob. My stomach was big. I didn't have a big chest. I'm forming a chest now. I'm starting to get ripped. My body's forming, and it's scary. It should scare people because I was good before. I'm not saying I was the best big man in the industry because there's a lot of good big men in the industry. Um, but God damn it, I'm probably one of the best working big men in the industry because I don't have big man syndrome where I can't move.
Right.
I'm like a normal sized guy in a really big body. I can do things that most big men can't. I can outwork a lot of big men just because I can move really well.
Right.
And if I have to start getting cocky, I'm gonna start getting cocky because I've been too nice for 5 years and it's gotten me nowhere. And I see a lot of dudes walking around with their chests out. And listen, man, I'm 5 years in, and I got to AEW, even if it's dark for fucking 3 minutes. I got to
Mhm.
AEW on my own,
Mhm.
and it wasn't even on my wrestling stuff. It was on my personality and my skills of working and being a people person and doing security work and just being a humble fucking person. And that's what I've been since I started. That's why I did ring crew by myself for so many years because nobody had the work ethic to just go put the ring up. Like, why is it like pulling teeth? Magic puts out messages all the time. Hey, come help out with ring crew, and we'll give you a match. And like nobody shows up, so it's like how serious do people want it? I want it. I really want to do this for a living. It's not like I just want to do this as a hobby because if I don't get signed within the next year and a half, I'm probably not going to wrestle anymore. I have a family I need to take care of. I need to be serious about real life. And there's only so much time I have left. I got into an
Mhm.
argument, not an argument, but I got into a discussion with a guy in Massachusetts. He's like, hey, I'm 37 years old. I've done a lot with wrestling. I'm not signed and everything. I'm going to keep going. I'm like, yeah, well, that's you. I'm like, I'm not going to, play wrestler for the rest of my life. I want to be a fucking wrestler. I want to be signed. I want to be taken seriously and not like a joke. So that's why I put in the work that I do. That's why when I got hurt that night, I was out of shape. I was smoking cigarettes like a pack a week. I wasn't drinking or anything. I'm not a big I don't drink alcohol like that. But that night, I remember I was waiting outside for my wife to come pick me up to go to the hospital. I'm like holding my arm up because my collarbone's sticking out of my neck. And my friend's like, "Hey, here's a cigarette." So I'm like, "Yeah, all right, I need one." So I'm smoking a cigarette, and I feel myself getting sick from it. So like, I threw the cigarette out, and that was the last time I had a cigarette. It's like 5 months, 6 months now, I would say, since I had a cigarette.
Oh,
And I don't have
congratulations.
urges. Yeah, dude. I mean, it was hard. I'm a truck driver, so like the stress of being on the road for so long, like the cigarette would help,
Yeah.
And it got to a point where it was too much. It wasn't like just one or two a day. It was like 4 or 5 a day, and it was like buying packs every 3 or 4 days, and it was like, all right, this ain't cool. So the injury was really like a wake up call. I,
Wow.
I saw somewhere where it says God tests you the hardest just before you like accomplish what you're trying to do. So like
Mhm.
I'm taking that as like that was my big final. Hey, let's see if you give up. Let's see if you fucking tuck your tail between your legs and run home. And I didn't let it do that. I'm determined to fucking get myself a contract. I don't care where the fuck it is, Japan, Mexico. As long as I can pay my bills from it, I don't care where it is. I'm kind of not a WWE guy anymore. Just from the experience I had with AEW. Um,
Mhm.
I'm not. I don't want to be lost in the shuffle. You know what I mean? I feel like I have too much to give this industry, and I feel AEW is the best place to do that because they're not going to hide me. They're not going to, you know, change me into some stupid gimmick. They let you be yourself. You know what I mean? Lance Archer's Lance fucking Archer. You know what I mean? Like these guys come here, Sammy Guevara, Sammy Guevara. So that's what is amazing about AEW, man. Like you can be yourself, and if that crowd, man, that crowd, man, wow, man, that crowd. I've never, man. I think the most I've wrestled in front of might have been about 300 people, which is a lot of people. Um, at Magic, my Dark Arts title shot against Adam Payne, the building was packed to the rafters. So like that felt amazing. 12,000 people, 12,000 people in Rochester, New York, and then when the match aired, I think it's up to like 300,000 people that
Wow.
viewed it. I
Mhm.
mean, come on, man. So I think any promoter, if they watched just that, they could see that I'm very smooth.
Mhm.
Uh, I can sell. I make things look real.
And
I'm not like
And
Go ahead.
taking his finish was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, everybody says that. I'm like, it's you're supposed to do that. Like, if that's the guy's finish, you gotta do your best to make it look good. And I mean, I heard the commentary; they were all amazed by it. They're like, "Oh my god, he's an animal! Look how big he is, and he has the muscle." And in my head, I'm like, "Motherfuckers!" Like, God damn it, give me 2, 3 more minutes. Let me do my Eddie Guerrero clip, and I would have had that building explode. Fucking 7 foot dude moving like a cruiserweight. But
uh,
I'll get my day in the sun, man.
the crowd that you mentioned, I'm thinking back as you're speaking of it. When you guys were on the far side of the ring, and he was coming at you, dude, the crowd was all about everything that was going on. So you getting punched in the face was so happy for you. When you came around again on the other side of the ring, and Archer had you, and the crowd was losing their shit over this, I'm like, my man has got to be. And that's a question. You know what? We are on this topic. Did you hear the crowd? Because you are so lost in that moment at that time. You are so like in the ring with Archer. And I
Yeah.
don't know what your mindset is, but did you hear the 12,000, or did you hear maybe
Yeah.
10 or 15
No.
people out there?
So what I felt out there, I haven't felt in any match I've had, because a lot of the matches I have, they like, I think guys forget our purpose sometimes is to tell a story, not to try and fill 10 minutes with as many moves as you can. Um, if you slow down and you tell a story, and I'm a big guy, if I punch you once, you're gonna take a, we sell that, man. It's like, this ain't like, Cirque du Soleil, and I feel like that's what it's getting to be. So me and Archer in 3 minutes, like, we told the fucking story. I know it should have been a little different. Like me and Jake should have had a moment before where it made sense for me to go after him. But whenever Archer's with Jake, he destroys people. So the type of person I am, I probably would have decked him and gone out and tried to take out his right hand, because that's his motivation is Jake the Snake. So in a way, I probably would have done that, but it should have been a little more banter beforehand. Maybe I should have been chirping with him when Archer came in and he was on the outside before I
Mhm.
was even announced. So that way they see me chirping with him. You know what I mean? And then it makes sense. But did I feel them? Of course I did. But the difference was it was natural. Everything felt so smooth. I felt like I was really having a scuffle with these two dudes. Um, but of course, you feel it. It's not that you hear it, you feel it. You got 13,000 people screaming and yelling. And when I was on the outside and I grabbed Jake, everybody right there was just like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like, they're like, "Are you crazy?" So it was a good moment, and I really hope that I can shine in front of those people and not just have a cheap pop moment, because that's what it was. I grabbed Jake the Snake, he turned me around and punched me in the mouth. Everybody's gonna lose their shit, you know what I mean?
Right.
But dude, the adrenaline, the people fucking like they're still hot, and the crowd is still anything you do, they're like, ah, it was good. It was awesome, dude. It was something I'll never forget. And the night alone, there was a lot of significant things going on in my life, like my grandfather's 16-year anniversary of his death, my friend passing away. 5 years in the industry. I'm 5 years in the industry, and I wrestled Lance Archer and got punched in the mouth by Jake the Snake. So I think I'm doing something good. I think I'm doing something right. You know, it was a lot of emotions. I cried more the next day.
Yeah.
Driving home, I was
Taking it in. Yeah.
more emotional, yeah. But that day, bro, I was ready to go. He could have thrown me off of Hell in a Cell. I would have did a mankind, dude. I was ready. That adrenaline was pumping, man.
uh, Back to the original setup of the opening. When Archer was up in the corner, he's doing his thing. I see, because the camera was more on him, but you could see you actually turning and looking at him. Your body position moves. So I go, oh, he's scoping out Archer. And then Archer gets down and he whips his shirt at you. And that, though, I felt was a decent enough setup to get a little bit of heat between you guys to make you want to do something to maybe said Jake. But when you guys came face to face and there was a size difference, I, again, lost my ever-loving shit. I go, look at this. This is just simply amazing, you know?
Yeah.
All of it in such a short time, I feel is so beneficial to you. And like you said, the eyes that have already seen it are in the hundreds of thousands, which is, I mean, just off the charts amazing. Never mind the live crowd that was there, you know. Congratulations for all of that. And I'm glad we got to break down that experience because it's fresh in your career. And I know you've been super stoked. And when you said the next day, I knew it was just going to take a little bit to be driving or just sitting and relaxing and maybe sipping a drink of what kind or whatever and being like, son of a bitch, that just happened, you know, and like you start taking it in, you know.
When it aired on Monday, I was a wreck here. I was standing up, I couldn't sit down, I was shaking, my hands were clammy because you know, on that stage it's like it means everything. That night, those 3 minutes was 5 years of me dealing with bullshit, fighting with my wife, you know, sleepless nights because you're working and trying to do everything else and not eating right. And it meant the world to me. And then when I'm finally watching it, and it was smooth. He looked like a fucking beast next to me. And I don't usually do that for anybody. You know what I mean? I'm a big guy. I shouldn't be thrown around like a fucking rag doll. I should be the one doing the fucking throwing around. So I'll never ever forget that moment, bro. When he threw the shirt at me, I was kind of mad because I got good reflexes. I caught the shirt. It didn't hit me. I caught the shirt and I threw it out of the ring. And that's when he started like coming chirping at me. If you notice, like I didn't even get a chance to get announced. They announced me, but when you notice, they're announcing me. I'm walking to him. I'm taking my shirt off and I drop it and I step up to him. It's like I took a moment and then I stepped up to him to give everybody that you know, that height difference. Because it's like, damn, dude, like I'm bigger than you, bro. Like you better fucking show me some fucking respect. And I'm like one of the only guys he's had that hasn't been bitched around. Like I'm the only one that stepped up to him. I didn't get dragged to the ring. I didn't get put out of my misery like that. He punched me while I was on the top rope. He got the better of me. He hit me with his move.
Yeah.
I hope I can get a dark match with him and have a match with him because
oh man,
I think that we would fucking rock the house.
Yeah. Now, you were speaking about being your true self, being Sammy Guevara, being Sammy Guevara. He didn't have to make up any character, change his name, get any trademark bullshit or any of that.
Yeah.
I noticed when they did announce you, your name came up and it said Louis Bruno.
Yeah.
Was that your choosing, sir? I've been wanting to ask you that since I saw the match.
I told them, the announcer came up to me and said, like, how would you like me to announce you? And I said, you know, El Oso Blanco Bruno. But I think they said that they just wanted to use my regular name. And I'm like, hey, I'm cool with that. But I wish they would have said Lou Bruno. I hate my first name. I'm just going by Bruno. I just say the Oso Blanco thing because I didn't actually come up with that. That was Danny Moff was the one who gave me that name. I did a show in New York, and before I left, he liked what I did, and he was like, you know, you're like this big fucking white bear, El Oso Blanco, and it took a while because I was going by the Meadowlands Monster, and then fucking Archer started calling him the Murder Hawk Monster, and I'm like, what kind of shit is that? Like, I don't even know. I don't even know if that's what he was going by in 2000. I don't know I forget what year it was, but like he wasn't going by that. And then I remember my friend Mikey was like, hey, dude, this guy's calling himself the Murder Hawk Monster now. And I'm like, what kind of
Hmm.
So like I'm like, well, I got to change that.
So
So
that was the reasoning behind the name change.
yeah, first of all, the Meadowlands Monster is too long. People called me the Hands Monster. I'm like,
Stop!
so yeah,
Stop!
I got that a few times, and I'm like, all right, you know what? I want to be myself. I feel more comfortable being who I am. So I'm a Cuban Italian, more Cuban than Italian. I got the Italian name, but I was raised on my Cuban side. I wasn't raised around like an Italian type of culture, so I'm more Cuban than I am anything else. So like I wanted to represent that. There's not a lot of Cuban wrestlers in the industry. There's a lot of Puerto Rican. There's a few Dominican, and there's a whole plethora of other ones. But there isn't a lot of Cuban ones. So to be able to represent my culture on this stage in the in AEW ring, I have a few people from Cuba that follow me, and they reached out to me, and they were like beyond fucking ecstatic and super proud, and like that's all I want to do. I want to get our struggles and everything out there so people understand that they need help. My culture needs help badly, and I will do everything possible to represent that. My whole gear is my boots have the Cuban flag on them. My gear says that Oso Blanco has a Cuban flag on them. My vest has a Cuban flag on them. My beard, my look, my whole style, it's after Camilo Cienfuegos. He was part of the bad shit, but he was assassinated because he wasn't agreeing with what was going on, and the people loved the guy, and he went to go do something, and they fucking killed him. So he was probably like to the Cuban people, they looked at him as like the epitome of a Cuban man. So he was really really popular, and he's probably one of my favorites because I see people walk around with Che Guevara shirts on, and they're fucking idiots because that guy's a murderer, and that guy's done a whole bunch of nasty things, and they wear his shirt like he's some hero. Um, so I wanted. We don't have a lot of we don't have a lot of historical people in my culture because they're all fucking killed and shit. So Jose Marti was a poet, and he's one of our biggest figures. But I wanted something with a little balls, you know what I'm saying? So why not a revolutionary like Camilo? And I kind of look like the fucking guy. Everybody says I look like Braun Strowman. We got to stop this shit with the Braun Strowman crap. I do not look like Braun Strowman. I don't talk like Braun Strowman. I'm not bald like Braun Strowman. Can we please stop? Please,
Please, yeah.
please. Like I'm this close from shaving the beard off because of this fucking Braun Strowman shit.
Don't do that. Um, I watching the transition from Meadowlands Monster injury to El Oso Blanco right now. I gotta say, you embracing your culture, I felt. I give you another perfect example. Nicole Matala, female wrestler. She used to be a different character. Rough, gritty, nasty, heel. Wore a lot of black. Put some face paint on herself. Called herself whatever. Whatever name.
Yeah.
Just didn't really. She wasn't feeling it. She took her heritage, being the Native American, became this thing. Her gear is some of the most fire gear I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But the character, the evolution, it's taking her heritage and just embracing it and moving with it. I think it's one of the best things she's ever done in her career. That's where it comes. The point being to you, I think this might be the thing for you, character wise, or the presentation, embracing your culture like that, the look and everything. I think is absolutely amazing right now. You're looking fantastic.
I appreciate that, man, and like I'm gonna keep pushing. I'm supposed to be going out to Vegas in February, for Versus Pro. I got reached out to going to Georgia. I did Massachusetts with Dan. So like I'm getting booked more. I guess I'm getting seen more, and I just want opportunities. I'm not looking for special treatment. I'm not looking to be, I'm not looking to be John Cena. I just wanna get paid to do what I love to do and do a good job of it. Tell good stories, put over whoever I got to put over, Every once in a while, I'd like a squash match just to fucking show people that I'm pretty, decent also. Shit, 5 years of wrestling, I've had maybe two squash matches.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, I put over a lot of people. I'm very used to losing. Very used to losing. As a 7-footer, it's pretty sad.
But like you were speaking of much earlier, you don't have that big guy syndrome. That's what drew me to your character, because we all see these big guys in wrestling, and at first you're like, holy shit. And then once you start seeing some of these big guys work, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You have kept the holy shit alive in the big man scenario, because you don't have the wonky legs, you don't have the wonky movements. You move like a 7-foot athlete in that ring, and it's just kept me as a fan drawn to your character, and I followed you from a distance because of our distance and geographically. But I've always been keeping up with your socials, and I stalk all your. I mean, I follow all of your stuff, and so it's been awesome seeing this transition of character and evolution of what you've got going on. Not only just the character, your presentation, your gear, bringing in your culture, but as we've already spoken, your body as well, which brings it up to the upstairs and keeping it all together as one unit. And I applaud you for pushing and persevering through your injury and the support system. We love to talk about support system. I'm so stoked you have a support system, as you spoke of earlier. Without that, sir, never mind. It's just singles competitors, a guy of your size that some promoters might look as a novelty and won't use you, or think you just can't work, might not use you or whatever. But persevering through this stuff, I applaud you for really stepping it up, changing your physique, your mindset, doing some really cool stuff. You look amazing. I just applaud you from fan to athlete. Thank you so much for what you've got going on right now.
I appreciate it, man. I knew I had to do something to maybe like get noticed more. I knew that I wasn't the size I needed to be. Like I said, I know I'm a big guy, but I remember wrestling Sean Donovan, and Donovan's very, straightforward with everything. You know what I mean? And I didn't like him for a while. I felt like he was cocky or whatever. But we got to talk when Shane did the basketball tournament, the fundraiser. We spoke, and I kind of vented to him, and he took it in and listened to me, and we kind of like I feel like at least I mended something in my head. Like I didn't have the same feeling toward him that I did. And I do respect him. He's a dude another guy that puts in mad fucking work. Maybe doesn't get the credit that he deserves because he's like me. He wants to tell a story. He doesn't want to have a fucking circus act. He's old school, and that's what I am. I was raised old school, not just in wrestling, just in life. I'm old school. That's why it's very hard to live in this society today with how I was raised. I gotta seriously like watch what I say and like because man, I got beat on a daily basis. Like I'm a hard old school Cuban family, man. Like I literally got beat on a fucking daily basis, and I still would get slapped off by my mother if I said anything out of tune. You know what I mean? So Donovan is somebody that I respect a lot, and I remember wrestling him. And he's like, "Look at you! You can't even fucking wrestle without a t-shirt on." Uh, and I wasn't insecure with myself. I took my shirt off and I fucking threw it at him. And I'm like, I don't care. You think I care what people think about me? I don't care. It's just the way I wanted to look. I wanted to wear a t-shirt. I wanted to wear my shirt while I wrestled. And it's just what I wanted to do. The look I was going for. But I get it, and it always stuck in my head. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to fucking show everybody, coming out of this injury. And like I said about my wife, we went to the gym every fucking single day together until this point. Now that the kids are back in school and they're not just home anymore, my daughter's in fucking college. So like we don't have the babysitter right now, so like we can't do that anymore. But she got me through the hard part of it, like staying motivated. And I used her to keep myself motivated. And because I would throw it back at her, like if we were tired one day, like, no, we can't do this because we're going to get lazy. And I don't want to get lazy. I don't want to get into that routine of being like, I'll go tomorrow. I'm tired. And
Mhm.
like, even if I go and it's like a half-ass workout where I don't do my normal shit and I just do a few things, at least I'm doing something and I'm not just completely not working my body
Right.
out.
Yeah.
It's hard. My shoulders are really tired. The injury shoulder is pretty tired, and then the good shoulder it doesn't feel so good anymore because it's been taking a lot of the weight during the injury. So it's just hard, man. It's hard to push back through being tired, and I gotta go back to work, and I going back to work it takes the time out of the gym, so I really got to push myself and get back from work. I'm exhausted, but I gotta go. So it's like eat something, and then fucking get in my car and go to the gym and do my workout for an hour and a half, and then come back home, sleep for an hour and a half. Bro, it's a toll. It's a toll on me. It's a toll on my family. You know, it's wrestling. It's hard to deal with it.
And I've said it on every single interview. I have to say probably, and this will be episode 280 if I'm not mistaken. Um, I feel personally, my opinion, uh, being a singles competitor, male or female, is one of the hardest things in the universe to accomplish because of all the sacrifices and almost everything we've spoken of throughout this entire hour that we've been speaking. There's so much sacrifice. There's so much mental things that you have to deal with. There's so much physical things you have to deal with. And being able to jostle regular life and the wrestling and training and getting to a point to where you can start working. And then once you start working, now you're even gone more. And without that support system by your side, may it be a family member or your spouse or whatever, it's that much more difficult. And you've just spoken about so many of those sacrifices through our time sitting here. And again, and this has nothing to do with trying to kiss the white bear's ass. I applaud you, my friend, because it's so easy to say, you know what? I just want to be with my wife and kids and fuck this dumb shit with the wrestling because that's very easy to do. This is something that I want to accomplish. And while we're on this topic, is there a goal set that you had in place? Because you mentioned you've been around for 5 years or so. I got about a year or two in me. If I don't get into this signed category, it might be my time. Was there a goal, a timeline set for such?
Yeah. So when I decided to wrestle, I had a job. I lost my job, and it was kind of like that moment where I was like, I'm fed up with everything. So I wanted to do something different and use my talents for other things. I don't fit in everyday life. So like every job I have, I mean, I think the longest job I had was like 2, 3 years. And then it's like I just can't do it. I can't deal with it. And I'm too big for trucks. I'm too big for forklifts. And I've always done manual labor jobs. I never had like I've done call centers. I've done construction work. I've done fencing. I was a forklift operator for a very long time, so loading trucks and shit. That was probably my longest consistent job was loading and unloading fork trucks and stuff like that. I've worked for Echo. I've worked for G Unit when they had a clothing line, and then I got my license because my wife's mother, she's like, she felt bad, so she paid for me to get my CDL, and I got my CDL, and that just brings problems, man, because it's just like the truck driving is stressful, and then I come home angry, and it causes problems with me and my wife, and we're always fighting, and I can't, I like lose myself because like I forget sometimes,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
I'm probably gonna get emotional because it's just stressful. It's stressful. Um, I try to do as much as I can to support my family, and
Mhm.
like I'm so focused into wrestling right now that I'm forgetting what I need to do here. My wife asks me to do things, and I forget, and it pisses her off because my mind is like riding high right now, and I'm trying to get the fucking contract. And I keep forgetting about the family shit. And it's just I'm dealing with juggling the family. You know, it's just rough, dude. It's rough. Wrestling is hard. It's
It is.
hard. It's really hard.
I, I didn't mean to bring you in this direction, my friend, but these are the topics that we speak of on this show all the time because it is. Again, I want to reiterate, boys and girls, we're seeing it firsthand. It's one of the hardest things. Take the weights, take the gym, take the pre-workout, post-workout, the way you eat, your diet, take all of that and throw it all aside. It is 90% here, and I say 10% here. Because you can have 90% here. If you've got 10% here, you're fucked. Doing this as a job is one, again, I want to say it one more time, one of the hardest things in the universe. And I know there's many sports out there, the athletes being the NFL, the NBA, and all of that stuff. But my man right here, the white bear, is showing us the sacrifices that it takes to get to a platform where that's where you strive for. When you start wrestling, that's where you strive to be. You want to be in a certain position. When you started, you're like, this is what I want to be. My man is trying to get there, but there's many sacrifices along the road. And
Yeah.
he's taking them on. But the long term is to keep that fam lifted and loved. And that's what the contract is all about, is the family. And if I could hug you right now, my man, and I know you're much taller than I am, and I would probably come up to your fucking pectoral, I
I
would
appreciate
hug
it.
you very, very much, very long time.
I appreciate it.
And I thank you for putting it right on the heart, right on the sleeve, my man.
That's
You
my
are
problem.
one of no, that's okay. I do the same shit. You are one of the guys that we speak of in the business that makes this business what it should be and what it's supposed to be. The good guys. And right there is a very perfect example. And I'm sorry that we're at this point. But when you think about it and break it down and like, where do I want to be and what is the end game? The end game is always this, my family. And I know that's always in your focus. And I know these little things that happen in our lives, it kind of it bumps along the way. But I
Yeah.
see that you persevere, you push forward, and I know you have a heart of gold, and I could just see it from on the onset when we started talking. Because again, boys and girls, I've never met this man live. This is our very first time speaking. And I just want to hug him to pieces. How you doing, my man? Are you all right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good.
We've been talking for about an hour and 15. There is no runtime. There's no format on this. Is there anything you'd like to lead out? Because I feel, is there anything you need to say before we bring this to a tail end of the regular old, what's your social media jazz and all of that? We don't even have to, we will do
Yeah.
that, but
No, not really. I'm sorry that I'm emotional. It's just, it's not like you didn't do anything. This is like daily basis. People talk about mental health stuff like that. Um, I'm okay. It's just I'm stressed. I'm stressed. I'm tired. Uh, so I'm okay.
okay.
Just
All right.
it was an emotional week, so I'm just a little fucked up from it. But
That's
I'm good, dude.
okay.
I'm happy where I'm at. I'm healthy. I'm feeling good.
Good.
I'm pushing through everything. So, uh, yeah, I'm good, dude. Not bad.
We love to hear that. And again, just seeing your performance on AEW Dark Elevation, um, the hairs just stood right up on my arm when I saw your name tag come up and you and Archer were there. And I know this has been probably one of your most emotional weeks, I would imagine.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
uh, with with such
Yeah.
a high note in your career and just all the emotions that come with it. Um, did you sit around together and watch this, or were you kind of? How did you watch this when it was on the YouTube?
Just right here, man. I'm in
Yeah.
my basement right now, and I just had it on my TV. Just put it on, and that was it. I didn't show my boys yet, but I plan on it probably tomorrow.
Seeing yourself on a different stage with a stadium size crowd, stadium size noise, commentating behind it in their production, walking through that curtain, um, all of the experience, everything we talked about. And I thank you for sharing that story of the
Yeah,
process of getting to AW, because that is something that so many people in this globe will never experience. But my man, the white bear, did. And I thank you so much for sharing that experience with
no
the
problem.
fans, because they're going to listen back to this, and I guarantee you, when we start getting into that after all of that ass licking we did of Dirtbag Dan, I'm telling you, they're going to be so stoked to hear the journey of your AE dub experience. And I thank you so much for everything you shared with us tonight, because, my man, right from the heart, nothing scripted, nothing, everything is on the fly, and it's just friends talking and getting to know one another. And I don't care where we're at right now, this was perfect for me. We got to just talk life, talk wrestling, talk White Bear, talk AEW, we talk Dirtbag Dan, we talk so many things. And I feel, and I know we got to an emotional stage, but I think we might be friends by and it's only an hour and 16. An hour and 16 of Don Kincaid at the shows. I usually get people wanting to take their foot and stick it up my ass. So I appreciate I appreciate you not hanging up after the first 15,
uh,
20 minutes.
no, not at all, man. Yeah, it's just I'm a very real person, so everything you get from me is real. Not scripted, not anything. It's just I've been through a lot. So uh, it all culminated that night in AEW. It felt great. If I don't get a contract, if I don't wrestle anymore, I'm happy with where I got to. Evan Myers is a really good friend of mine, and he told me that 99% of the guys don't get to where you got, and you're 5 years in and you got there, so you should be proud of yourself. And if anything comes out of it or nothing comes out of it, you should definitely be happy with what you've done. And I am,
Abs-
and I am.
Absolutely. He said that very well, because even though we see how much wrestling is out there and how many wrestlers are out there, that's such a minuscule percentage of the people that are on the globe. So
Yeah.
um, I could never take anything away from anybody that wants to step through those ropes. I feel I feel scared as shit just stepping up on the apron like I'm about to take a bump somewhere. And I don't want to do that because I'm very skinny, I'm very thin. I would break. This is what I would picture. I would be on the apron, I would get bumped off the apron, hit the ground, and I would shatter like peanut brittle.
Like glass.
Yes, it would go just like that. I've had visions of it already happening.
I mean,
So
look at Dan, man. He gets bumped all the time, and he's alive, so it's possible.
this is true. And oh man, uh, the white bear, we have had an amazing time getting to know you, and I could talk to you for an easy probably 2 or 3 more hours. You would get sick of me
Yeah.
before I got sick of you.
Nah, not
Um,
at all, man.
so maybe down the road, and we'll see what's going on with El Oso Blanco's career. Maybe, and not the too far future. Maybe we can kind of run this back, as the kids say.
Yeah, maybe we could do it live. How about that? Like
Oh,
in person.
I would love to do that. That's how I started stirring the pot until this damn canola virus shit started.
Well,
Uh, yeah,
I got my vaccine card, so I'll show it to you.
I got one too. Ooh, ooh, pick me! I got one too.
Hey, we're good. We're good then.
I would love to run it back live. That would be absolutely amazing. That would be
Yeah,
very, very cool.
maybe we should do one with me and Dan.
Oh God, Jesus Christmas! I would be in danger, I think, but I'm definitely down.
I'll watch your back though. I won't let him. I won't let him get to you.
Yeah, and please, Roberta, I love you, but I don't think you should be part of this because I think I'm going to get clocked in the head by Roberta.
No, I'll tell him to leave her in the car.
Oh man, I am so glad we got connected. We had a fine conversation, getting to know El Oso Blanco, and I know there's so many more questions I had to ask you. But again, like I said, when it's on the fly, you start talking one thing, and things just kind of get away from you, and that's what I love about it. I don't want it scripted. I don't want nothing written down. I don't want to research El Blanco. The only thing I did research for was I got to find out exactly how tall and how much his cat weighs. That was the only research I did. Oh, tell me if I'm correct, by the way. They build you at 7 feet 287.
Yes.
Oh, cool. All right, I did correct research then.
Yes. I was a little heavier, but now I'm like losing the weight and gaining muscle, so like it's fluctuating. I'm about to. I'm actually lower now. I'm I think 71 now. But like
wow.
I look really good, man. I feel great, and I'm just gonna
Awesome.
keep going, dude. Just gonna keep going.
Excellent. That's what we like to hear.
Yeah,
Before we let you
all
go,
natural too. No bullshit. No extra stuff. Just my protein shake, and I just do like a pre-workout just to kind of get me energy and stuff like that. But
wow.
I'm just going with the genetic actual stuff in me.
I've been doing push-ups, and I don't know if you can see this jacked forearm right here. It's like a
Yeah.
like
Look
a
at that.
king cobra, right? Like a king cobra, right? I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Look at the vein. That vein is massive.
I can't believe I just flexed for El Oso Blanco. That's crazy. Before we do let you go, though, I want the fans that have never seen you to be able to connect with you. So please give us all of that good social media stuff so we can get the new faces to get on the social medias and find you and follow your stuff.
Yeah. Twitter is at El Oso Blanco, New Jersey. Instagram is El Oso Cubano. And then Facebook is Lou Bruno. At YouTube, you look up El Oso Blanco or the Meadowlands Monster, and you'll get my page. And I have all my matches, mostly all my matches up on there.
Nice.
And yeah, you should be seeing a lot more of me soon.
Well, if any promoters are watching this and you've never seen or never heard of the names Meadowlands Monster or Bruno El Oso Blanco, do yourself a favor, look them up. He gave you the medias. There's no excuses, promoters. There's no excuses. Look them up. Take a look, see at the old YouTube, El Oso Blanco, Meadowlands Monster, however you want to type it in, it'll come right up. If you want a 7-foot monster that can look like a 7-foot monster, that's your guy right there. Because when he gets in that ring, goes through those ropes, there is no messing around. And my boy performs like a straight up athlete. And you want a monster? That's the guy to get. With all of that said, I appreciate the stories, the insight of your AEW experience. I cannot believe we got that much information out of you. I was so stoked for that. Congratulations on that meeting with Archer and Jake Roberts. That is so fucking cool. That is so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And I wish you nothing but the best and what you have going on in the future for your career. And I can't wait to see what you've got going on in the future. And again, I'm going to stalk the shit out of you because that's what we do as fans. We like to see what's going on. So thank you so much. I really appreciate everything you've given us tonight.
Thank you, brother. I really, really appreciate being on your show. Thank you.
With all of that said, boys and girls, this is Stirring the Pot with Donkey Kate and my very special guest, El Oso Blanco. I got so good at that. I almost El Oso
Yeah,
Blanco.
yeah, very good, very good.
Oh, thank you again, my man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.